So the Liberals and the NDP coalition are finally getting their story straight. It really seems like the path that we're heading down is Justin Trudeau is either going to resign or he's going to get voted off of the island. And that begs the question, who's going to replace him? Is Freeland going to take his place and we're going to have another Kim Campbell situation? Who's going to take Freeland's place? Or is Freeland going to stay the deputy finance minister and will somebody else come in and be prime minister? All of these things are answered with a little bit more clarity in this video, but just a bit of a spoiler, Freeland is not qualified. I mean, we all know she's not qualified. Pretty much none of the Liberals are qualified, if I'm being totally honest. But Freeland is not qualified to manage our budget. She's horrible with money. She's admitted that the budgets will balance themselves. And so it seems like somebody else with a lot of financial background is likely to take her place. And we're going to have to wait and see as this video unravels who that will be. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I want to encourage you guys to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. And without further ado, let's get into it. So the polls are still looking extremely favorable. Conservatives are still sitting at 218 projected seats with a bottom line of 184 and a top end of 237. I do think that as the summer progresses, you're going to see that number climb above 220, and I might get close to 230. That's just my optimism. The Liberals are down still at 67 projected seats with a bottom line of 46 and the top end of 94. So no matter how you look at it, I mean, they need 172 seats for a majority, and they're projected to hit a top end of 94. They would have to triple, essentially, their current seats, their current projected seats in order to win a majority government. So we all know that that's not happening. Conservatives are still at a very strong 99% likely of winning those seats and 99% likely of winning a majority government. So no real changes there. But we do have some changes in and around Canada that isn't about the polls, such as the first flip of 2024 pancake breakfast in Calgary. Let the greatest outdoor show on earth begin. There we go. Look at that. Hey, she knows what to do. Now, we all remember Justin Trudeau's famous little attempt at trying to flip a pancake. I'm not going to pull that video up because it's just so embarrassing that I don't even want to watch it. But Justin Trudeau did last year try to flip a pancake, and it just splattered everywhere. And this year, he actually canceled his appearance at the Calgary Stampede. I wonder if that's because nobody likes him. I don't know. There's a lot of speculation around that, but nonetheless, let's take a look at some more bad news, I suppose, in Canada. We started off with a good video, right? You get the Premier of Alberta flipping a pancake. Yay, that's successful. Well, this next bit is not so successful. So, Canada Revenue Agency is posting GIFs now. Beloba na na na, papo chapa muka laka unana, Canadian tax Despicable Me 4. Kind of weird, bro. Kind of weird that the Canadian Revenue Agency is trying to promote Despicable Me 4. Is that a new movie? I've seen these little minions in the past. I don't know. Kind of weird, but somebody's being paid to do this. That's kind of the issue. And it's at our tax dollars. And Andrew Lawton from True North says, what fresh hell is this and why did I have to pay for it? And apparently, oops, the minions were at it again. What they meant was the kids wearing you out, at least applying for the Canada Child Benefit is easy and you can do it one-handed on your phone. Despicable Me 4. I don't know, kind of weird way to go about things. Like, your Canada Revenue Agency, I don't know if you should be memeing, not right now when the whole country literally hates you and the current Liberal government. But let me know, guys, what you think down below. Is that cool for Canada Revenue Agency to do that, or is that kind of weird? Looking forward to seeing those answers. Speaking of weird, Trudeau's new online censorship bill, C-63, will cost taxpayers a staggering $200 million and includes establishing a new 330-person bureaucracy. Now, of course, this isn't linked to a article or anything, but with a little bit of luck, you actually can find it. Online harms regulator expected to cost Canada $200 million right from the PBO. Kind of crazy. The PBO estimates that staffing up the new regulators in the Liberal Online Harms Act will cost around $200 million over 5 years. The federal government wants to establish a digital safety commission to regulate social media companies and force them to limit harmful content online. This is what people have a problem with. Dude, that already exists. Don't we have laws that do that? Don't we have laws that limit harmful content? Like, you can't, I mean, for crying out loud, it wasn't even harmful. It was all blurred out, but my video about the Pride Parade, it was already all blurred out and it got demonetized and age restricted. Super weird. And when you swear on social media, it blurs it out, even in the comment section, right? If you write like F this, F that, and use some swear words, I'm not censoring that. That's YouTube. YouTube sends it from a posted, like, you can see the comments publicly, to there's a separate bin where I have to manually review that. And there's thousands, folks. There's thousands of comments per day. I just don't have the infrastructure to do that. But maybe with a government grant, we could filter through all of those things. But that's not the point. The point is that these protections online, they already exist. So I'm not exactly sure why it's costing us $200 million to enforce this even more. Like, are they going after their political opponents? What is it? Because social media companies already have like decent infrastructure to censor. In fact, it's a little bit too much from social media companies, but now we're adding in more censorship, more regulations. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something, but maybe somebody can fact check me down below in the comments. If the government legislation passes in Parliament, that commission would establish a set of regulations and have the power to levy fines against companies that break the rules. That's a slippery slope. The online harms bill also proposes creating a digital safety ombudsperson. I hate that, man. It used to be the ombudsman, and now they changed it to ombudsperson, that Canadians can bring their concerns to, as well as new digital safety office. Well, that's interesting. So I'm wondering if that would be applicable to like YouTube, because YouTube doesn't have a HR department, and neither does Facebook. And so when you get banned or shadow banned, which all the companies deny ever shadow banning, as if we're dumb, right? Oh, I guess shadow banning doesn't exist because you said it doesn't. I wonder if that's a thing now, where if you're a creator or someone who's been, wrongfully punished or penalized by a social media company, that you can reach out to the digital safety ombudsperson. I'm not really sure, and I doubt that would be even successful in the first place. In a report published Thursday morning, the PBO says the Heritage Department estimates that those new entities will employ about 300 people when they're fully up and running, but we did see 330 elsewhere. The PBO estimates that from 2024 to 2025 to 2028 to 2029, the total operating costs will be $200 million, minus any possible administrative, monetary penalties, fines, or regulatory charges collected by the commission, ombudsperson, and office, it reads. And I don't know how they're breaking down that $200 million salary or $200 million grant for this. Like, that, where's that money going? So let me just do a quick calculation here. So I'm being pretty generous with this salary, but let's just say that it's $80,000 a year and there's 300 employees, right? Well, that is $24 million for 1 year. And they said it's going to be $200 million for 5 years. So we multiply that by 5, and that still only gives us $120 million. So where's that other $80,000 going? Like, we already have the government buildings. We already have that infrastructure. So this is where Canadians are just really, really concerned about the negative and wasteful spending that the government implements. It doesn't make any sense. $80 million. Just gone? Like, where's that extra cash going? Okay, now that income could fluctuate, right? Maybe not $80,000 for 300 employees. Maybe there's management that's 110, 120,000, and maybe there's, entry level positions for that is 65,000. But $80,000 average for 300 employees, 120 million, even with a little bit of leeway, does not make up the difference of $80 million. So again, we're kind of in another arrive scam situation where we don't know where the hell this money is going. And I doubt we're ever going to get full transparency from the government to like add a system in place that already exists, but instead of leaving it up to social media, which we all know social media censors like heavily across the board, every single platform does a outstanding job of doing that more than they should. Now we're doing that per country. So is every single country now going to follow suit and implement these things? Again, unless there's something I'm missing, this just seems like a little bit of wasteful spending. The report notes the government may collect revenue by fining companies that don't comply, but the estimated costing does not include analysis of what that could look like. There is a high degree of uncertainty in the revenues that will be generated since it depends on the willingness of outside enterprises to follow the requirements set out by the Commission and the Online Harms Act. I just don't see how this is going to end well. I feel like if Canada tries to do this and is successful, then you're going to start to see other countries follow suit. And then what? Like YouTube is going to get fined from every country around the world for made up things, for things that maybe they didn't do properly, for gray area situations. And then that YouTube fine is going to impact the amount of revenue that's put back into YouTube or the social media platforms. And then all of a sudden, what happens when a company gets taxed to death or fined to death? They run out of money, and then creators don't get paid because they're out of money. And then the infrastructure of the app kind of falls apart. It just seems like a slippery slope. That's all. I mean, holding social media companies accountable, yeah, I think everyone is on board with that. But at the same time, who's the social media online harms expert in Canada? What are their qualifications? Is it another drama teacher? Yeah, probably. I think we all know the answer to that. We're going to shift gears a little bit, and we're going to take a look at the Toronto Star. Insiders say Liberal MPs turned up the pressure on Justin Trudeau during a private call. Some of your key players need to go. Prime Minister Trudeau was pushed to make serious changes to rescue the Liberals' political prospects during a call with regional chairs from the party's parliamentary caucus on Tuesday, according to two sources with knowledge of the conversation. Right from Ottawa, Prime Minister Trudeau was pushed to make serious. Okay, so again, it just goes to show that everyone who supports Trudeau, all of the people that are pulling the strings in the background, all of the massive decision makers that Trudeau, either works in conjunction with or has to report to on some degree, everyone is questioning Justin Trudeau. It's inevitable now. Like, you can't avoid how much hatred and lack of support there is for Trudeau. The by-election aside, everywhere he goes, he gets heckled. Every rhetoric online about Trudeau is not painted in a good light that says, hey, Justin Trudeau's doing a good job, because that just doesn't exist. And if it does exist, it's because Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party of Canada is paying them to say that, which is something that I found quite interesting, how they are paying influencers to promote them, which there's a lot of conspiracies around people like myself and other content creators. You guys are paid by the Conservative Party. No, we're not. I mean, I would like to. Is that possible, Pierre? Do you guys dish out, payroll or contract work? Because that would be kind of cool. But no. Unfortunately, the Conservatives don't pay creators yet. Hopefully. Maybe. We'll have to see. But let's shift gears again a little bit today and see that the NDP voters aren't crazy about Jagmeet Singh's propping up Trudeau, says a poll. 32% of respondents say their opinion of Singh and the NDP is worse since 2022 when the deal was signed, while just 20% say they think better of the party. and its leader now. So even Jagmeet Singh and his coalition is kind of falling apart, and it's not working the way he thought it would. He thought that because he teamed up with Trudeau, the legacy name, that he would go down in history as doing the right thing. But he's very slowly, not quickly, very slowly finding out that any association with Justin Trudeau is not good. It's losing support. He's losing a lot of support. He's losing a lot of confidence from NDP voters. And again, this isn't what people voted for. When they voted for a Liberal government, they voted for marijuana to be legalized, and that's about it. And now that that's done, okay, let's have another election. They didn't vote for an NDP coalition. They didn't vote for this sense of immunity and lack of accountability, in which we've seen time and time again. So, yeah, not a good look for Jagmeet Singh. But let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Okay, now we're getting into the deep waters here, folks. I hope you guys are ready. So, right from ipolitics.ca, Freeland, Carney, headline rumored candidates to lead post-Trudeau Liberals, with Prime Minister Trudeau facing calls from both inside and outside his caucus to step down. iPolitics walks you through each of the rumored candidates to take the Liberal mantle. Now, Justin Trudeau, not qualified to be Prime Minister. Chrystia Freeland, not qualified to be Deputy Finance Minister or Prime Minister. But somebody who does have a background with finance is Mark Carney. He was the governor of not only the Bank of Canada, but the Bank of England as well, or Bank of UK, Bank of England. And I mean, I look, I'm not a fan of the guy. He is a globalist. He's part of the WEF. He's a lot calmer when he talks, which I don't like, because a lot more normies might think that that's good without actually understanding the impact of his words and his mission. But he is a way better replacement than Justin Trudeau, in the sense that not as many people hate Mark Carney yet as they do Justin Trudeau. His thoughts are better put together. His speech is better. He's just an overall better candidate, which is scary. That's the scary part, because if Trudeau does decide to pull the plug and replace with somebody who's more competent, which again, literally anybody, even this juice box water bottle thingy that Justin Trudeau likes to say so much, is a better candidate than Justin himself, then they're going to get more votes, which is not something that we want. We want the Liberals to sink. We want them to the party to sink and to not do very good, so that we can have a majority Conservative government. And this is where we're kind of in that murky water territory, because there's been rumors that, well, Carney is not only interested in running as Prime Minister, but he also is a qualified candidate for Deputy Finance Minister, which would allow Freeland to take the reins as Prime Minister. And ipso de facto, we're left with another Kim Campbell situation. So not like the best news, but let's take a look at this interview where Mark Carney actually talks about being Prime Minister.
Increasingly, the Americans care about the Canadians. I mean, my experience here this time around, relationship is becoming more strategic. You agree with that?
I agree with that. Yes.
And what are the ways you think that's manifesting?
Well, I think, historically it's been longest undefended border, common values, look at our people on your TV, that kind of approach from Canada. And I think there's a slow awakening. I think it needs to speed up, to be honest. We better not hit the snooze button on this. Slow awakening of the fundamental strategic aspect of the relationship. We're operating in a world where security is paramount. You need resilience. You need to look to those countries where you have common values, and you need to reinforce them. The first way we do that is, as Canadians, is we become an essential trading partner of the United States. In other words, we're providing things to the United States that, from a strategic perspective, the U.S. absolutely needs. So what does it need? It needs clean energy. We've been talking about that in size. It needs critical metals and minerals from a reliable supplier. It's essential to the ultimate success of that whole industrial strategy around clean energy. I think as well what it needs is a reliable partner in the backbone of artificial intelligence. Just the scale of development there, you need clean power for that. You need the right regulatory framework, you need the right values, you need reliable people, you need cyber defenses, all things that Canada can bring. And it's going to sound odd, but even the United States needs capital. And we have some of the most sophisticated institutional investors in the world, and they bring smarts, they bring expertise, particularly in infrastructure investing, which is what the U.S. is just in the very early stages of. You could call it an infrastructure boom. It's an infrastructure era, really, is what's going to happen the next couple of decades in the U.S. and I think in Canada as well. It's going to be about building out the new infrastructure. We can provide all of that. And if we're providing all that, if we're working towards providing that, it's going to make the U.S. stronger, it's going to make the relationship stronger, and it will bring a series of other benefits to both of us.
So, see, this is what's so scary, is that he is able to talk and not sound like a total idiot. And I don't like it. I mean, I do, because obviously in anyone who's running for a leadership race, that would be tremendous. Like, you want competent people that you can kind of pick and choose. But again, if this were to happen, if this conspiracy were to come true of Mark Carney putting his hat in the ring for either finance, deputy finance, or for prime minister, that's where we might have a little bit of trouble. And that's where you'd probably see the Liberal poll numbers go up a little bit. But again, I mean, Pierre has a tremendous amount of momentum. It's unlikely, it's severely unlikely that you're going to see anything that happens outside of Pierre's control, such as a change in, NDP leadership, or even Liberal leadership, or Liberal caucus shuffling around, whatever happens. It's unlikely that there's any recipe, any formula that could take that dent away from 99% likely of winning the most seats and 99% likely of winning a majority government. You might see it drop a few percentage points, but I don't think that you're going to see it drop significantly. But again, it's still scary territory.
I know you wouldn't necessarily mind being prime minister in the future. If there were a Carney administration, how would it differ from what Canada's seen in recent years?
Whoever, over the course of the next decade, I think this is a decisive decade very much for Canada. We have a massive opportunity in Canada. We can be part of the solution for the U.S., but gain huge benefits for all Canadians as a consequence of that. So I think an even greater focus on that relationship and a focus on execution. I mean, this is about tens and tens, ultimately hundreds of billions of dollars of investment that needs to happen over the course of a very short period of time. So I think first and foremost, in and around that. I think as well, we have some huge domestic responsibilities here. We need to build 6 million homes over the course of the next 10 years. We need to build 6 million homes. That's what we need to do. We need to ramp up from our...
Housing prices are just way too high right now. People are very angry about
prices,
it.
And rightly so. Yeah. Prices, availability, the quality of homes, there's a right way and wrong way to do it, but we've got to execute against that. So again, a real focus on tangible delivery. I think that's one of the things that we need to do. We need to get much better at delivering for Canadians, delivering for our allies. Then the last thing, I mean, there's many other things, but the last thing I'll emphasize for this is, look, anytime you have these big transformations, climate, AI transformation of the global economy, it brings opportunities, but opportunities for people who have skills. And so we need to provide Canadians on a huge scale the opportunity to retrain. And it's massively exciting. At a moment like this, if I can get the skills to participate in, to master the machine, if you will, on the AI side, fantastic. It's empowering. If I'm just sitting there with my existing skills today, it's massively threatening. And so this is a fork in the road. We have a choice on that, and our governments need to align with it.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, but he has similar talking points and has a similar ideology that Justin Trudeau has, right? Like the climate, right? He said climate and technology and AI. Canadians really aren't that concerned about climate. I mean, we're fed up with that rhetoric. They're claiming that we're all going to melt and we're all going to freeze and drown simultaneously at the same time. And if we go on a road trip for 10 hours, the earth is going to catch on fire. It doesn't make any sense. This isn't even that warm where I am in BC. It's not even that warm of summer. Last summer was tremendously hotter than it is right now. And also the forest fires, like I feel like this time last year they were a huge problem, whereas now they're not. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that there's a bunch of fires happening, but you don't have smoke going down into America caused from Canadian fires here in Canada. So I just feel like priorities are homes, definitely, like 6 million homes in the next 5-10 years, whatever he said. Yeah, that's a lot. And I don't believe that Justin Trudeau or anyone currently from the Liberal government has the right plan to do that, because they keep spending all of our money elsewhere. They keep spending our money on Ukraine. They keep spending our money on failed social programs. They keep spending our money on this new PBO thing of $200 million to hire 300 or 330 employees. And there's a massive gap of $60 to $80 million that just, we don't know where that is accounted for. I don't know. Right? Just bullshit. Absolute bullshit. And people are seeing through that. So unless Mark Carney could address a lot of these issues that, you know, liberal supporters have now lost trust in Justin Trudeau for, then I don't see how the Liberals could ever regain, you know, any trust from their supporters, right? There's a lot of people, man. A lot of people have voted Liberal in this country for a very long time. A lot of people, maybe a lot of supporters of this channel voted for Justin Trudeau in the first election or whatever it was. And, you know, it was a turn of events. No one expected Trudeau to tank our economy the way it has, the way that he did. No one expected Trudeau to be a lying monster the way he's turned out to be, right? There was a lot of hopes, a lot of high expectations for Justin Trudeau, and he's just turned around and shat on 40 plus million people. Kind of bizarre way of handling your position as a prime minister, but I would love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Do you think that Mark Carney would replace Justin Trudeau? Do you think that Freeland would replace Trudeau and Carney would take her spot? Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. Ladies and gentlemen, that's where we're going to end this video. On your way out, I would like to encourage you guys to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.